Welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Lavanya, let me begin with you. I was seeing your grandfather and father inside the speaker's room, and I think that was such a beautiful picture. The Nalli brand, it has become one of the best known brands for sarees. It's one of, I think each one of us have related to the traditional Nalli sarees, the silk sarees with the intricate designs. But you know, more and more designers today are rewriting the vocabulary of fashion. Youngsters, young designers in fact, are challenging the notion of fashion designing. So, Lavanya, your family has been in the business of sarees, which has now moved on to other things as well, other fabrics, for almost 90 years, and you're the chairperson now for the Nalli Group. How have you seen fashion changed from your grandfather, your father, and your time? How's it evolving?
So I think I've got the privilege of actually working alongside both my father and grandfather who've come here today to, you know, as a, I guess, a show of solidarity.
Yes.
And I think I'm lucky that I have them be as supportive of me, both in business and then in everything else. The way that I've seen it change is there are certain things that remain the same. As a family business, I think our core values, our work ethic, what we're known for, that's unshakable, and that's something that's always been our, our cornerstone. But what the biggest change that we've seen is essentially with consumers. Innovation from the product side has always been there, right? But from the consumer side, previously it used to be the case that women would wear a sari out of habit. Now they wear it out of choice. That's a very, very crucial distinction. Because now when somebody goes to pick up a sari, they pick it up because they say, look, I like the way it looks on me. I like the way I feel in a sari. And I want it to be a reflection of my personality.
But has that made a dent in sales? More and more women wearing a sari out of choice and not because of the way it's supposed to be, the traditional way, or how, they have seen their mothers or their grandmothers. Has that affected sales of Nalli? Because I've seen that there's been a change in the strategy of Nalli. It's no longer just about saris. You also get fabrics, you get suit pieces. So you seem to have diversified as well, isn't it?
So no, I'll pass that statement a little bit. It hasn't made a dent in the sales of Nallis. So if you look at the industry as a whole, it's now, depending on the reports, it's around 80,000 crores. That's the sari industry, and it's growing at 8%, which is a very healthy pace of growth. And our business has been growing at a pace higher than that, right? And the diversifications into non-sari apparel had started even as early as, the early 90s and the late 80s. So I think what we see instead is, it's a slight shift. It's less about sales per se, but it's more about the kind of merchandise. Now, because the woman buys for herself, the customer is much more discerning. And the lady prefers to have a huge choice, like a huge variety, because they do what is called deselection. They want to see at least 10, and then they will deselect, and they'll select the best 2 out of the 10. Whereas previously it was a very collective shopping experience. And it's almost a communal thing where you go with your mother, you go with your sister, and then you sort of lean on them and their advice, and you say, okay, I'll pick this
But I think when it comes to saris, a woman has never enough, isn't it? Anavila, your saris, you work with linen, and I think that's a very complex yarn to work with, but they're very simple, very muted colors. I mean, look at the contrast here. We're talking about Nalli saris, heavy silk saris, and then there are your saris as well, which are a range. You have dressed Vidya Balan, you have dressed Sonam Kapoor. So what do the women want? I mean, the women of today, what are they looking for?
See, I can't say for all the women, they're different personalities, different people, different women. My brand is an extension of myself. I believe in comfort and minimalism, and that is what is reflected in my work. And thanks to God, there are lots of women who also adhere to that kind of minimalism and look for, our saris. That's how we go forward in our design sensibility.
But are you seeing a change in trends, like how Lavanya was mentioning in terms of what women are choosing to wear?
I agree with her. I mostly agree with her. I was telling her when I met her, it's lovely to have met her today, that my trousseau had saris from Nalli, and most of the gifts which were bought from Nalli. When I started wearing sari after my marriage and when I started working, I didn't feel so comfortable through the day wearing a very heavy sari. And that's how when I started working with the weavers and was thinking about what I wanted to make, linen was my fabric of choice because of the comfort which was attached to the textile. Apart from the comfort which comes with it, also I think the texture lends itself and it looks very, very beautiful.
All right, Gaurang, but speaking of weddings, and weddings are a big deal in India. It's not just about the bride and the groom. It's about the entire family. I mean, even at Nalli stores, you would be witness. The whole family comes to choose their saris for the sisters, the nieces, and so on and so forth. But when you think about it, you create this magic for the bride. And most of the times, the wedding dress, the lehenga or the sari, is rarely worn. Is that a bit of a disappointment for designers? You know, you put your heart and soul into that one dress, and it's rarely worn then. I mean, I don't think so. I don't even remember when I wore my wedding lehenga, but is that a disappointment?
No, there's no disappointment as such. It's like wedding is something, it happens once in a while. Once in lifetime. Nowadays, once in a while also comes out.
No, but I love that. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, today's times
Once in a
there's
while.
nothing predictable. So,
Reimagining
like
marriage.
the new age bride which comes to us says, we don't want to buy very expensive, very elaborate saris because we are going to wear only once. Whereas the mothers keep pushing them, nahi tumko lena hi padega because you are the bride. People are going to look at you. So, I would still say, yes, you are the bride. People are going to, you have to be the best dressed that day.
But do you see that changing? Because some of my friends, and particularly working women, there's just no time to wear the sari, especially when you get up in the morning, you're on the run, there's just so many things to do.
Yeah, but it's
so complex
as
to
easy
drape a
as
sari.
how you're wearing your dress today. Sari wearing is very easy.
Let
me drape a sari on you.
You can drape a sari on me?
Yes.
So I challenge you, can you drape a sari on me?
Within a minute.
In 1 minute?
In my show at Lakme,
Okay. Do we have a sari? Fine, I'm all for challenges. Gaurang, I challenge you. 1 minute. Do we have a timer?
Tell me.
To work. Can I?
No, it will be draped beautifully. It will be there. You can. Let me try it again. Ajana. Gujarati man. थोड़ा श्रवण लंबी है सारी श्रवण और थोड़ा पल्लू खोल
But I don't have 3 established designers at my place
No,
to do this in the
actually,
morning.
you actually don't need
I wish I had.
any
but
established
I'm
designers.
flattered.
It's just magic of your hands, and might be 2-3 times you just practice it, and it's like.
We have beautiful women sitting here, and I think most of them are in saris.
Yeah, I think all of them.
And
all
all
of them.
will agree it's the most easiest garment a woman has got to wear.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let me come to you, Shravan. And you have shocked the fashion community with your very unconventional styles and use of fabric. And I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. I was in a dress and now I'm in this traditional wear. But do you think that, are you seeing a change, more and more designers coming in, challenging traditions? You know, because why I ask you this is, when we began the second edition of the India Today South Conclave, we had this fusion between Indian dancers with influences of Western music. You know, we had this whole Juganbandi going. Do you see more and more designers wanting to break the norms, wanting to challenge themselves? And you've had several fashion shows abroad as well.
True, true. First of all, I want to tell I have seen so many Western designers, not from India, from Australia or America or Europe or quite a lot of other parts of the world, trying to do a lot of gowns which look and drape like a sari. What else you could ask God for? The trend is going to be following so much where people want a gown to look like a sari. Tell me about it.
Hermes has come up with their sari, their version of sari.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
that's
have
true.
come up with the print saris.
But speaking of your collection, I loved your Chitravali collection, and that was, an ode to the Ajanta frescoes, and you've worked a lot with Kalamkari. But Gaurang, every year we have a new trend. Every year we have a new fad. One year you will see frills, you will see off-shoulders, there's this denim look that was popularized by all the Bollywood stars. Then you have asymmetrical silhouettes. For designers, how challenging it is to keep up with the trends, or do you just completely ignore it and do your stuff?
We all are sari people here. For us, saris is the trend.
No, but there is innovation in saris as well.
Yes,
There's a lot
there
of
is innovation
creativity.
in textures, in colors, in designs. Draping of the sari also. But still, a sari is a sari.
If I can jump in,
Sure,
right?
please.
In fact, I think the sari is the best canvas for you to innovate, because for 2 reasons. Number one, especially in handloom, every sari is unique. You will never find this in apparel, right? Stitched apparel, unless you go to the really high end, there's always a chance as a woman you wear something, you're going to bump into someone who's also probably wearing something and which is very similar, and then there's that embarrassment. But saris are not fundamentally designed that way. And part of that is because every weaver is an artisan and he's a creative person. So an artisan doesn't want to create the very same thing. He's not a machine. So he's not going to create it in depth. He's not going to create the same style again and again. So that's one. The second thing is it's a blank canvas.
Okay.
A sari is nothing but a rectangular piece of fabric. You can put on weight, like I have a 10-month-old baby at home, right? And then that was actually the time when I started heavily wearing Indian wear, because it was the most flattering. And then you'll balloon up and you'll sort of like shrink down, and it's a very forgiving garment. And even from the viewpoint of the artisan, it's wonderful to work.
So I can obviously
You
there are
get
big
the-
sari fans here, but I also wanted to ask you about, more and more younger women being very sure about what they want. In the olden times, you had the mothers and the grandmothers handing over their heirlooms to the next generation. But most of the youngsters now know what they want, and the old Banarsis would not really look as good as probably how they looked good on their mums or their grandmothers. Do you see that change? And Anavila, you are doing a lot of these lighter muted tone saris. You work in linen, and I see most of my friends and colleagues also going for the same.
What I feel is more and more women, see in India, it's very recently that women have found a voice of their own. They are going out, they are working, at par with men, and I think in most of the places even better, or they are out there, finding their own voice. In that kind of a space, to bring forth your own personality, it's very important to have the right choices. So they're making their own choices, and I think comfort is coming in. So sari, which was essentially seen for a very long time, post-independence, as when we got more and more influenced by the Western world as a traditional garment, which was worn for festivities or occasions. Now, you know, with them going out and working, and, you know, looking at comfort, so the whole innovation is towards comfort, that you wear the sari the whole day, but it's not bringing you down. Or you're not looking like a piece of India who's gone somewhere and representing India in that traditional garb. You can be wearing a sari, but can be in, you know, it can be parallel with anybody in Europe. You're wearing a linen sari, you have a beige color linen sari, or a black color linen sari, or a silk sari for that matter.
So let me ask my audience, you know, I've worn a dress yesterday and today. How many of you thought I looked nice in that Western dress and in a sari now? So the dresses... Maybe I will think again for the next conclave. But speaking of, Shravan, the handloom fad, Smriti Irani had started hashtag wear handloom. And you saw this rage, everybody was talking about the handloom. Why handloom? Why so much of focus and significance on handloom than powerloom? And how to make handloom sustainable?
First of all, I'll tell you difference. What I see difference between handloom and powerloom is, handlooms have a heart, machines don't have one. Handlooms are, you know, they are made by men, and they have hands, and the weavers have hands and mouth to feed. The powerlooms only have the power. I know, which is again a scarcity. I don't deny the fact.
True.
But very importantly, I think so, it is a very nice tool custom of what she started, where handlooms, where a lot of followers, where a lot of people want to be trendy wearing handlooms. Like you must be seeing a lot of people wearing peplum tops, jackets, might be they are trying to wear different kind of tops with saris, and yet trying to look very different. But there is a vast difference between powerlooms and handlooms. Is why? Because as we are talking about luxury today, as we are talking about reimagining fashion today, because when we talk about handloom, God is in detail. You know, I think for me, every detail is important, and God is in detail. And the detail what a handloom gives, a powerloom can never give. I'm so sorry for people.
Is that why designer stuff is so expensive? I mean, I'll talk as a common person. You just marvel at the beauty that you see on celluloid. And then when you walk into the store, you also see that the prices are exorbitant. How to bridge that gap?
I totally agree. Designer stuff is expensive, and it has to be expensive. Because today, see, tell me one person who wants to be same, everybody wants to be different. A. B, everybody wants something which is luxury. When luxury has got a price tag. Has got a price tag.
Does luxury need to be expensive?
Yes.
Does
Yes,
it need to
it
have a
has
price
to be
tag?
expensive. No, but it's got a certain price to it.
It is expensive because of some other factors also.
Sure.
For the case of my designs, you see, it starts from the thought process, then it comes to the drawings, the graphs, setting up the looms, and by the time the first piece is come, it's almost 1.5 to 2 years. So we need to pay the weavers that much of labor charge also at every level.
Yes, please.
See, I feel, you know, you said why handloom, and why is there so much, you know, as India is moving forward, and we are, you know, moving towards a position of leadership. After agriculture, handloom is one of our, you know, biggest sector. In handloom, when we talk about luxury and creating a brand India in luxury, I think that's where our strength is. So I think it is what Smriti is doing is to push that strength further and to push handloom so that we can create that mark in you know, the textile industry. Of course, we are also doing a lot of innovation in terms of technical textiles or medical textiles. But handloom is our strength as a country and has been our strength for a very long time. And having said this, the price of a handloom sari, you know, when you say, you know, when I started working with handlooms and crafts, the first few visits to the craft center or the weavers would be, but why are they kind of not working on their crafts anymore? Why are the younger people moving out of the craft and taking a small job in a computer, you know, kind of a center and not weaving? Weaving is, I think, one of the most tedious job one can do in conditions which are almost not always very, conducive of weaving.
Yes.
And for that person to be weaving and be happy about doing that has to be properly compensated for that work.
No, but I've also seen that, designers, when they're starting out, they design at a certain price, and when the exposure happens with Bollywood, the pricing skyrockets. I mean, it's a completely different ballgame. So is it because of, the designer becoming so popular, and because the weavers still remain the same, don't they?
See, the cost...
What changes? Why does the costing change so much?
Every year, the cost of the raw material goes up, the cost of sustaining yourself, the cost, the living cost goes up. So it doesn't mean that if I started working 2006 and was paying a certain price for a sari to my weaver, I'm not paying the same price anymore. I'm not paying the same price for the material. I'm not paying the same price for dyeing. And also the operational cost of the brand itself has increased. So it's not that I don't agree with the fact that once a celebrity has worn your garment and you're a popular designer, it is a mandatory that your prices will go up.
Okay, but that usually is the trend, isn't it? I mean, we have seen that. Shravan, you would like to add something?
No, I don't think so. There is any homework which goes into it. I don't think so. Usually it does not. Because basically, when you go to a designer, you actually know what is the price segment you're going for.
Okay.
They fall in this price category, and what is it you get from them, and what is it that you don't get out of them. So I think there are seldom, very few cases in India or in our place or in south of India, I say that the prices have ever gone up. But actually there are a lot of stuff like, making a celebrity wear. I'm like, when you actually when a designer wants a celebrity to walk the ramp at the so-called fashion weeks, there is a price tag to it. Now no fashion weeks or no newspapers want to take your garment up there on the first page or want to give you that kind of publicity without a celebrity.
But
everybody wants that.
I mean, isn't that unfair then? I mean,
No, basically, no,
But
it
that's
happens.
a big marketing strategy
That
nowadays.
is a very big marketing
People
strategy.
are
That's how
star
it is.
crazy.
So if I
Today, if I show a sari to someone, they say, "Ki theek hai, chalo rakh do."
So you
I will think about it.
No, so have you seen that change in people's
have seen,
behavior?
yes, I
Because
have
you
seen.
dress Kiran Kher,
Yes.
you've dressed Vidya Balan,
Yes.
you've dressed so many other celebrities. Do you see that?
I'll give you an example. I have lots of these clients, and when I show them something new which has come, they'll say, "Ha, theek hai, Gaurang, we'll think about it." And by chance, Kiran Kher has worn the sari or Vidya has worn the sari. Next day, I get a call, "Gaurang, why didn't you show this to us?" Like my Chitrawali collection. Till today, it's been last August I had done the show. Till today, I get calls from all over the world. I want the same sari what Vidya has worn. 1 inch भी difference नहीं चाहिए. पल्लू पीला है, पीला ही चाहिए. वो figure वैसी है, उसका blouse वैसी चाहिए. The color has to be same. In Kalamkari, where do I get that from?
That's true.
The natural colors change season to season. No, हमको वही चाहिए बस. आप ज़्यादा पैसा लो, हमको वही चाहिए.
That's true.
People are star crazy.
Lavanya, you wanted to add something here?
So I think there's many different ways to be successful, right? And this is, I think, this is one way. And you're right, like when you're making that involved a garment, right? And there's so much of labor and love that's gone into it. The price tag reflects that, right? But there are other ways of doing it. So at Nalli, what we do is our margins are very, very thin because for us, we've sort of stripped out everything else. And what we've done is we've said we work directly with the artisans. And the different viewpoint that we take is we treat all of the artisans, all of the business partners that we work with as entrepreneurs, right? And that is the strength of this nation. So the folks who work in handloom, they are job creators and they are entrepreneurs. People who work in a factory are job seekers. So we could say what we want about, of course it's good that living conditions are improving and all of that, but also factor this in, that a person who works and who makes his own livelihood, there's a certain dignity of labor, there's a lot of things that go into it. At Nalli, the way that we work is we work directly with all of them, right? We don't really work through middlemen, we work directly with them. We keep our costs very low. We don't spend at all on marketing, right? Really, we haven't done a TVC in years.
In fact, Nalli has been very consistent over
we don't
the years
do
in terms
discounting.
of pricing as well.
Right, we haven't done discounts since the 1940s.
But tell me something, online shopping has changed the game. The internet has revolutionized the way we shop. You, in fact, got a chance to work with Myntra for some time. You were with McKinsey, you work with an online fashion retailer. How has your experience been? And Lavanya, is there a difference between the behavior of a consumer online and offline?
Yes. So the short answer is yes. I think a lot of it is market forces, right? This is the way that I see it, and I'm speaking not just from my experience at Myntra, but broadly as well. The e-commerce channel today, in my perspective, is still nascent. It's still evolving. It's not as crazy as the years of 2014, 2015, where everybody was just harping on discounts, right? But it still is viewed as a channel for bargain seekers. And there still is a little bit of opportunistic buying that happens online. And we are all guilty of it. I mean, I would be hard-pressed to find one person in this room who hasn't gone into any offline retailer, whether it's electronics, apparel, whatever it is, and tried to find the same product online to see whether you get it at a more favorable price. So that's what the technology has done. That's how it's disrupted, and that's here to stay. But does the channel have to be for bargain seekers? Does it have to be discount driven? I don't think so. But I think we're still early in that evolution. It's going to get to a place, right, where that channel becomes a very legitimate channel. Right now we are seeing online players going offline, right, to say, okay, we've got to, we've sort of hit the ceiling and then we've got to branch out. So I think you've got to look at it and say the whole industry has changed. It's not about online versus offline, but it really is about you've got a whole new channel and a whole different way of getting your products to consumers, so you make the most of it.
But that's what's happening.
But I think online sale is for somebody who's doing multiple pieces of the same design. There are quite a lot of designers. I'm sure Gaurang will also agree. There is only one piece. There are few pieces which cannot be reproduced again. Might be a line of 4, not more than that. But when you go online, you need to have that much of stock in hand. And
you need to have stocks, and number 2 is the pricing.
No, but tell me something. What's your, Gaurang, what's your take on retail shopping? What's your take? And that's gaining prominence.
For me, online doesn't work at all.
But why?
For me too, online doesn't work at all.
You get better prices, you get discounts, there are no crowds, there are no people, you can sit in the cozy confines of your house.
Like how Shravan said while weaving the sari, the difference between handloom and powerloom, it's heart there. When a lady comes to buy a sari, she would like to open the sari, drape it, feel it, ask Azu-bazu walon ko ki how it looks, and then buy. Whereas online doesn't happen that. And if you see whoever is running these online stores, 50% or more than that, they must be getting returns also.
How many of you would
however beautiful the color is.
How many of you buy online?
Sarees online. We are talking about sarees online.
Can I say
Mr.
something?
About ladies here, ladies please.
Ladies who buy sari online.
Can I add something here, Lavanya?
Gaurang, there is so much of difference in color. The thing what you see on a picture with lighting is quite different in real look and feel. Flesh and bed.
See,
you can achieve.
What I felt is I've never bought anything online myself apart from the airplane tickets. But I do find a lot of women, when we put something on Facebook or Insta, we get a lot of inquiries. And women today who have experienced a brand in a retail brick and mortar kind of a setup, once they know what it stands for and once they've seen and experienced your fabric and texture and your, the quality of work, they are not hesitant to buy it online.
But
Even
that's
if the
up
price
to a certain price range they buy.
But
they don't go above a certain price range.
But to
there
add
is
to that,
there is so much of time involved is I think
well,
because a woman sees the sari online and the next thing they come and call my online guy that can we do a video con. It's the same time I can meet her and do.
Lavanya, do you think online shopping, I'll give you a chance, ma'am. Do you think online shopping is a very impersonal platform for anyone shopping? And another very quick question, because we've completely run out of time here, is that what about taking luxury online? Does that damage the brand's exclusivity?
So to your first question, yes, you do lose out on the tactile, the look and feel, the sense of it, right? You lose out on that experience. Having said that, so we have a Nalli.com. We have gone online, right? Despite having our costs that low, despite having like margins of that. But you're right, it's tricky. And it's tricky for the same reason that you've indicated. When you have one product, You drape it on a model, you shoot it, there's a certain cost structure, then you've got to load it, you pay for server cost, you pay for image editing, you pay for all of that. And then 5 minutes later, that saree is sold, it's gone. It's gone. That cost and all of that, you can't take it and spread it across, 50 other pieces of the same type. But I think the key to solving that is innovation. We've got to innovate and we've got to get the costs low as we can, without compromising on all of the other aspects of consumer experience and the quality and the trust that inherent product and the brand carries.
Okay, it was wonderful chatting with each one of you. I'm feeling very wonderful in an Anavila creation there. I don't know if I get to keep one. But on that note, thank you so much.